By the end of this video, you'll never give a presentation the same way again, because we're talking about how to give a great presentation. What makes a great presentation? What is this? Oh boy. I guess we're still under maintenance here. Well, I hope it's not having a perfect slide deck. Thank you, because I don't have that. And this might ruffle some feathers, but I'm just gonna say it. Your slide deck doesn't matter. You could spend hours on it. You could spend hundreds of dollars getting it professionally designed, but your slide deck doesn't matter if you can't captivate your audience. That's a far more important skill. So we're gonna talk about that today. And the best way to do that, which I learned from writing dozens of keynote speeches and pitching to the biggest brands in the world, the best way to captivate your audience is through the principles of storytelling. So we're going to talk about two simple principles today that you can add to your next presentation, and it's going to make you a wizard at giving presentations. Okay? Does that sound good? So where are we going to look? We're going to look to the movies today. In a good movie, it sets up a question in your mind early on in the movie. For example, in a romantic comedy, it's will they or won't they end up together? In Lord of the Rings, it's will Frodo destroy the ring before it destroys him? And in a whodunit, it's literally whodunit, who committed the crime? What these stories have done is they've set up a central question in our mind. It's a reason for us to keep watching till the end of the movie. And it's something that we care about. So in the same way, when you're writing your presentation, you need to set up a central question in your audience's mind. Give them a reason to care. Don't assume they already care. And what you're doing is you're giving them a reason to stick with you till the end. A reason to not just check out, either physically or mentally, and just go somewhere else. So we've got to set up a central question, something that matters to them. Now, in this video, I said, you're never going to give a presentation the same way again. And I did that to set up a central question in your mind, which is why? What do I not know that's going to change the way I give presentations? And I also said, you're going to become a wizard at giving presentations. And that's to set up the question, how? Like, what's going to make me a wizard? So those were the central questions that I wanted to set up. But a question alone is not enough. We need something else with it. And you're going to say, answer. It's answer, isn't it? No, it's not enough. If it's just an answer, then we wouldn't have to deal with stuff like this clickbait, which is elephant that spent 11 hours digging a hole, finally pulls out something nobody expected. The answer is her baby calf. That's the answer. And it's probably not that satisfying after you go through 9 different websites and watch all these videos to finally find the answer. So an answer is not enough. It needs to be a satisfying answer. It needs to be a payoff. So that's the second principle we're applying here. We need a satisfying payoff to that question. Otherwise, people will leave with a bad taste in their mouth. So in a whodunit, we need to know who committed the crime, but we need that answer to be interesting. It can't be someone obvious. It needs to be something much more imaginative. So in the same way, in your presentations, you need a question and a satisfying payoff. It can't be something obvious that they already know. Otherwise, you shouldn't be giving the presentation. Just send it as an email. So here's the thing. This is a little secret from great stories and great movies. Once you give the payoff, the story's over. End the movie. End the movie quickly after that. Unless you're Lord of the Rings and you have like 5 endings. I don't know how they got away with that. But for the most part, what you do in your presentation, you get in, you set up a central question, and then you pay off that question, and then you get out. Story's over. Presentation's over. Get out of there. But here's the thing. This is the mistake most people make. Most people, as they're building their presentation, they think, well, here's my main points. Here are my sub-points. Let me build the presentation around that. And what that does is that just assumes that the audience cares about it. That is assuming that by sheer willpower, they're going to pay attention to your presentation. Instead, we can rely on setting up this question and letting the question provide that intrigue and that attention that you need as you give the presentation. So you're going to set up that question and you're going to pay it off at the end. Let me give you a quick example and then we'll finish up. So the example is, if I'm giving a talk about presentation skills, here are two title options. One is Presentation Skills 101. There's that. Or we could call it 7 Deadly Sins of Presentations You're Probably Guilty of and How to Avoid Them. So for me, I'm much more interested in watching that second one because it sets up the questions in my mind. What are the 7 deadly sins of presentations? Am I guilty of them? And how do I avoid them? All of those questions will be paid off. Versus if it's just called Presentation Skills 101, I don't know why I care. So you've got to set up that question, set up that payoff. And when you do that, you'll never give a presentation the same way again because you'll start giving great presentations.